This is Bold TV.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us again. You're welcome to Bold TV, powered by Bold Heart Network Initiative. You're welcome to this very beautiful edition of today's discussion. And today we are discussing managing your privacy as a woman with disability. My name is Grace Oluwatosin Adebayo. I am based in Ogun State. I work on 4-arm crutches. And today, on today's episode, I have other guests in the house, my co-host in the house, and I'm going to start by asking them to introduce yourself. So I'm going to start with Osaki. Osaki, please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Grace. I think I love your excitement. I'm Osaki Teresa Georgie. I reside in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I work with Fair Care Foundation, a polio warrior, gender-based advocate, disability rights advocate. I think I enjoy to be here, and I do other activities that support disability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Osaki. You're welcome. Okay, so Freki, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hi, everyone. Great to be here this beautiful day. My name is Freki Andresian. I'm the Executive Director of Fair Care Foundation, a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. I'm based in Port Harcourt in Rivers State. I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Freki. Okay, so let's go straight into today's discussion, which is managing your privacy as a person with disability. And my first question to us is that, what is privacy? So, Freki, can you please tell us what you know about privacy for a woman with disability? Thank you.
Okay, so in layman's terms, I know that privacy is not a new word to anybody, but when you hear the word privacy, it is an intentional setting aside or taking off of one's time, either to be alone or to be able to do things on their own, whether it's by reason of a person's time, but it's like finding my own space and wanting to be in my own space. That is what I perceive or would like to define privacy as. So it has to do with an individual's need and intention to secure their own space or their own selves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Freki. So, Osaki, let's hear your own view about privacy.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. My own view of privacy is still almost what Freki said. Trying to be on your own, enjoy yourself without family and friends interrupting, having that time to yourself. Try and see what I can do. Something that only you want to be in the cycle. I just want to be in this room all alone. I want to have something that's calm and quiet. I want to just know that thing, just me that knows it. I don't want to share with anybody. It's a way of less sharing of either thoughts or activity just by yourself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Osaki. Okay, so on this discussion, we are actually discussing having your own privacy as a woman with disability. People with disabilities are known to depend on people for some activities they cannot do. So in this institutions like this, we don't have our own privacy. So my next question now is that, how do you keep your privacy as a woman with disability? Osaki.
Okay, thank you very much. As a woman with disability, privacy at times I would say it's not so easy. Because most times we need assistance. And in the act of you trying to ask for assistance, you share that thing you think you want to have as a privacy. So all I would say, that the activities that goes around you, or when it comes to your own privacy, when it comes to your computer or your ATM, one word I would say is share less. Especially when it comes to things that are sensitive to you. Don't talk much with people you're not, even those you are sure. Because someone tell you, the moment you share anything, it's no longer private. No matter how it looks like, when they tell one person, the moment someone, another ear, apart from your own ear, should hear it, like that's lost that privacy goal or thereabout. So how you can manage is that one, share less of your activity or that thing you don't want the public to hear. So when it comes to our social media, these days now, most people don't have that privacy again. Everybody knows their summary of activity or what they do in the week or in the month because they want to share. So that share less online, very, very, just try and see brief things you can put out there for your own kind of lifestyle that you don't want to put out, or your password or your own thought. Just keep it to yourself. As long as it's not going to be harmful, you try and see how you can talk less and see how you can manage it, except when you really need to share it, but be very careful on how you bring it out from your head. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Osaki. So, Freki, please permit me to add to your own question of how is it possible? Let me ask this question: is it possible to have your own privacy as a person with disability? Freki.
Okay, thank you very much. So for me to answer that question, I will just take a step back to express a key element when it comes to the conversation on privacy, and that has to do with the ability for a person to control what you give of your own self. And a loss of that control can have a lot of effect on a person. I want to establish that privacy for a person A may not be privacy for person B. So the question is, how much of yourself or your space or your information, because there are different types of privacies, how much of you are you willing to give out in spite of disability? That is one thing that would help you to determine how far you want to go. And I'll give an instance. When I was recently injured, that spinal cord injury, I was wholly dependent on people around me for self-care, meaning that they had to bath me, they had to help me go to the bathroom, they had to help me do everything. But for me, I felt that was a problem. It's not outsiders, it's family members. But I felt that this is a problem for me because I don't like that I'm dependent on everybody. So this is what I did. I found out, is there a way that in spite of this, that I can do a lot more for myself? Some persons don't have a problem with, that level of privacy. They are okay with that. But what for me, I just felt, what can I do to limit this self, that is my body now? What is the limit I can put on having to have people be assigned to do this and do that? So I went to research, and then I went to study, I went to look, I went to find out what I could do by way of rehabilitation, because I couldn't find spinal rehabilitation in Nigeria. So I read up a lot, and when I had the opportunity to travel, I went and asked also some more questions, because I was very particular that I want to be able to do these things for myself. I don't know why I thought like that, but for me, I really thought that I should be able to do this. I don't know, I just kept saying to myself that there has to be a way around this. And because I thought like that, so I found a way around it. So why am I saying this? Privacy is different for different people. But essential to privacy is the control that you have of what you are willing to give out of yourself to people. Okay? What you are willing, a lot of people, once they lose that control, they begin to spiral. And like Osaki said, it may be difficult for persons with disabilities who are overly dependent. That is why, just like a child, You must learn to wean yourself off slowly but surely from what we call codependency that could infringe on your privacy. So while yes, we agree that most persons with disabilities will need a caregiver, but you must decide within yourself where the line is drawn, where a person, and determine what it is. That's what it means for you when a person is infringing on your privacy. I'll give an instance. We had a training in a state in the West, and it was for young persons with disabilities. And one of the things, because I was facilitating the training, and I like people expressing themselves when they do their trainings, in spite of the type of disability. So there was a lady who I gave them a task to do, and then it was time for presentation. And there was a lady with a visual impairment. So the way the task was that you get to write down some things, but they always come with aids, so they were able to get the aid to write down. So when it was time for presentation, the aide did not even ask her any question. I said, I will talk for her. I told her, you will not talk for her. I promise you will not. That's infringing on somebody's space. You will not talk for her. But the woman she did not even see that person was about to take her voice. And I asked a simple question. When you were doing the task, where was the source of the idea that you are about to present? The lady with visual impairment said, yes, it's me now. You gave us the task, not our aid. So I said, as you are talking to me now, tell me what you told her to write. Don't allow her to bamboozle you because she came and she's your caregiver. So that's an example of what I mean. There are some instances where you may not have control, but you need to determine what is your privacy, what control, what of yourself you're willing to allow people to come into, or else every Tom, Dick, Harry, brother, all of them will just invade your space. Thank you. Sorry I took too long, but I would express it.
All right, thank you very much, Freki. Thank you so much. Okay, so Osaki, so let me ask you this question now. And the question is, how do you keep your privacy safe with those who have access to your privacy? How do you keep it safe? How do you ensure that they don't use your privacy against you? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. How I drive that, let's say for example now ATM, and I give someone my ATM to go and do some transaction for me. Of course I'll tell you the password, because at that time I won't be able to get to the bank or whatever reason. So the moment I give you my password, of course something may like, this you're giving your password. For sure, my privacy has been leaked somehow. So all I just need to do is to make sure that my ATM does not leave my body. I need to hold my ATM as in 247 to know, okay, the way I guide my phone, that's how I should guide my ATM. So except I want to do change of password, which I could do with my phone again. Do you understand? But for other kind of privacy, when it comes to like instances that I want to share with somebody, and you want to tell someone maybe a secret or something that happened, and you're like, okay, even when you say, in short, just make it look like it's not a big deal at times. Because the moment you said, don't tell anybody, you've created please talk. So you just said casually, like, doesn't really mean so much. And the person will just listen and forget. But when you put so much interest, like, if you see what happened, I don't want the world to hear, I want to do it like this. You already said, please tell the person, this is serious. So the person will either say it unconsciously or consciously. So there are things I want to tell you. It might mean so much to me, but I need to tell you. But I'll say it carelessly. And I'll just say that before I know it, you won't take it serious. You won't forget. You need to say, Saki, this means nothing to her. Meanwhile, it meant so much to me, but I needed to just tell you at that time because I needed to hear it, or I want to talk to somebody. But the way I said it, you just feel, okay, it's just one of those things, and sharing it might be difficult, or you might never remember to share it. So that's how I do some of the privacy things I do. Thank you.
Okay. I love that. Thank you very much, Asaki. Okay, so Freki, so how do you keep your privacy safe with those who have access to it?
Okay, thank you very much, Reese. So there's something called your inner circle. For anybody, it's important for you to know who is within your inner circle, and that depends on your area. That's this area of your life. You choose who you want to be in the inner circle that may be privy to some information about you. That way, you have some control of who has access to information, like maybe your ATM. Should you not be able to access the ATM, because of accessibility issues, but you have the power. That's what I'm saying, to be able to pick who is in that inner circle. So that allows you also to be a person who plans, and this is for persons with disability. A person with disability who doesn't plan will run into a lot of issues. If you're able to plan yourself, plan your finances, plan your spending, there's a way you have control over who has access to different things. So you know that, okay, if I need so and so person ATM, this is the person that is the preferred person that is known to you that would go to collect my money for me from ATM. Not like anybody say, hey, I beg. Just maybe say, when I reach the ATM, I go don't beg. That's just being you being careless. But when I don't reach, anybody go just help me, they go understand. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sometimes we get very careless with ourselves. Don't do that. You have a right to be able to choose. That is why during the elections, one of the provisions in the Electoral Act was that for a person who is visually impaired, if you go to the polling unit and it is said that they do not have the braille ballot paper, the provision is that you choose who will follow you. That it is you, that nobody will not say, I have to follow. No. You have the power. That control, once you lose control, psychologically it begins affecting, because you just feel that you are everybody's property. But I know it's psychological control, you may never have control, but you having that feeling that you have control over is just a strong thing. So you have the power to now choose who follows you. So you tell the PO, is this the person that's following me and I trust to follow me and show me? That's what we're talking about. So for me, I control who is within that inner space in different places. Like, I cannot just be an open channel for everybody. Another thing is this: I understand that I have a right to my privacy. I think some people don't know that they have the right. You have a right to your privacy as a person and as a woman with disability. And we're not just speaking about body privacy. We're not speaking about just finance or data or information. Even in relationship, you have a right to your privacy. Some people like you, I'm even greeting you, you're not. I say, no, wow, is it by force? You have a right to when you want to give yourself to. No, I'm telling you, because of what they relinquish, they don't know, it's like birthright that you give out. You have a right to privacy. And just in case somebody does not know, it's even in the Constitution of Nigeria. Right to privacy, yeah. Right to privacy, it is right there. You can go and look, check it up. 1999, it's there. So you have a right to your privacy as a human being. First of all, you have a right to it. Then the other thing, so I know that I have that right, so I'm able to exercise it. Of course, not arrogantly or difficultly, but with assertiveness that we're going to. That is why if a person invades my space, like this is my wheelchair, and you invade my space, I am very okay to be like this and be like, what is the problem? Even when you're invading of my space is intentional. Maybe you feel like I need help, so you just come, maybe without asking me. I just be like, let's establish what is about to happen here before it happens. Before I shout, what is about to happen here? And then when I do that, people kind of gather themselves like, okay, I wanted to help. But don't come I just come with me, let's go, and all that. Something happened one day in church. I was on my manual chair. So some children just came, and the child was a bit big, like, she was like a preteen. So she had better understanding. Now I will excuse the smallies who do that, but she's a preteen. So she just came and started pushing. Sana told her, stop. She now stopped. Then I held her. I started pushing her like that. So like, Auntie, what are you doing? That's exactly what you just did. And she was like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, don't. So understand that you have a right, and then it's okay when somebody is infringing on your right to be able to say, please, I would rather, it's okay to speak up when somebody, because if you give somebody your hand, the person will put the elbow after it be armpit, then you'll not put your hand inside your eye. So it's okay to be able to speak up. So these are what I do in my own space to be able to get that control. And of course, I do a lot of experiments to find out this thing that is being done for me is for me to do it myself, and then I work it out. I don't let fear keep me from not trying out a better way to achieve independence.
Thank you very much, Frecky. Thank you so much. Okay, so finally, this is the last question on this discussion. And the question is, can privacy shared cause abuse, fear, and low esteem? Osaki, let's hear your own view.
That question is a twist. In some instance, yes, it could cause an abuse. When, like as Frecky said, you didn't, they didn't take permission. They just start pushing your wheelchair or start putting their own, crossing their boundary. If someone could just hold your hands, get to your elbow, for armpit, for your other private part, they want them to touch. So it's as good as before it starts or before you share, there should be a rule, a guide that this is the much I want to share. This is what I want you to know. This is the space I want you to handle. If not, if I'm just walking on my own, and let's say that my bag is heavy to carry, and I carry a lot of stuff in my bag because at times I might not know where I'm going to be at the moment. And you just say, to carry a bag. Do I know that you might carry that bag and walk faster than me? So if I'm giving you the bag, means I know you, and I'll tell you, please don't walk faster. I try to control your movement, even when you are helping me. So that I at times you might know the person's motive. So that when there is no familiar face around and you really need help for someone to carry these things for you. So what I just do, and if I'm giving you my bag to carry because I can't carry it, I try to look at it psychologically, and before you know it, I'll just create a gist that I make sure that you don't move faster than me. I don't know you, but at that time I control your movement psychologically. I create an instance whereby you on your own, before you know it, I've reached where I want you to stop, and I'll tell you, thank you, give me my bag. Do you understand? Because I know what's the content of that bag, but I can't carry. I need to carry it. I know I've done that a lot of times. So I just look at you and just say, hey, let's. Before you know, I'm going, and I'm checking your movement. I know I make sure you don't walk faster than me. So when I get to the bus or wherever I want to do, I just say, okay, thank you very much. I carry my bag and I continue my journey. So at times, if you're not careful and you get carried, this might walk faster. Before you know, you start carrying your own property. So I try to see how I can control the other person's movement or whatever psychologically to get what I want, and everybody goes their separate way. So that's I think, because at times you never can tell where it might get you into a hurtful place or thereabout. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Osaki. So Frecky, let's hear from you.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. So to answer the question, can giving up of one's privacy lead to abuse and low self-esteem? The answer is there's nothing tricky about it. Yes. The answer is yes. YES capital. Remember the word I kept talking about, control. It can also be, replaced by the word power. So when you lose your power over things, abuse is inevitable, where all of a sudden the power for you to make consent for a person to step into your space where you have set boundaries, if that is lost, that is the beginnings of abuse, because the person begins to step over those boundaries, infiltrate your space, and without your consent, so you lose your confidentiality, you lose your privacy, and inadvertently you lose control. These are some of the instances that can lead to abuse, and that's true. Another one is that I've seen that people do is, for example, with cyberspace, where a person wants to illustrate a person with disability, and maybe your picture is not in the public domain for that kind of use, and then the person now picks it up and tries to use it. No matter that one of my friends, a big group did it. She didn't talk too much, she just sued them for using her image publicly that was meant for private sharing. But they were in this Nigeria. They were very shocked that that kind of thing happened. I said, you think you're doing me a favor by sharing my? I did not beg you. You did not ask me. So you shouldn't have. And I've also had those instances where I still remember a lady, she wrote a book, she was using something for persons with disabilities. And she had to write to ask me that since I contributed to it, could she use my image as the bold capture for that? And I said, okay. Same thing with this research we just did for on access to work that we did, through research center. It was the same thing. They wanted to use the image, they had to, write in to say, is it okay? I was like, enjoy. With use of disability, the ladies are okay with it. So my point is this: it can lead to abuse, and then because you lose control, you lose power, the person now feels that, oh, I don't have a say in what happens to me or not. It can be subtle, it can be immediate, usually by people close to you. So you may need to watch it. Boundaries are so important to maintain your privacy. You deserve some level of privacy. For example, if you have a caregiver that probably comes to help you with self-care, and maybe that day you just want to, it's okay to say, today I want to just stay and maybe I don't want human. It's actually okay. It's not depression. It's okay to say, I want that seclusion. I want to meditate. I want to think. It's okay. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Freki. Thank you so much, Ostaki. Okay, so Freki, give us your last word on this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So by way of last words, mine is pretty straightforward, that you have a right to your privacy, even if you are dependent on a caregiver, whoever the caregiver is, for your self-care. So you have a right to some level of privacy. What that privacy is, what that is for you to determine. What is the level of privacy that you feel you need? Maybe with self-care, with your information, with data, with your finances. You have the power to determine it, because nobody is going to set those boundaries for you. As a woman with disability, nobody is going to come and say, oh, in your life, do this and do that. I would advise and counsel. Make sure you know those in your inner circle, those that you trust with your information, because privacy is about your information being put in the public or to another person. So know who is in your inner circle. Make sure there are people you trust to be able to divulge information about you. If you ever feel that a person is infringing on your privacy, you have a right to speak out against it, so that it will not bring abuse, so that it will not reduce your power as a person to have control in their life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Freki. So finally, on this note, I want to say that disability doesn't take away your privacy. You can still keep your privacy even as a person with disability. And it also encourages us to be able to learn to do things yourself. Just like Freki mentioned earlier, try out new ways of doing things where you don't have to depend on people to do everything for you. So this is all we have to say today on managing your privacy as a person with disability. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Bold TV. Thank you so much. So do well to share this information with your friends and family. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. So learning the YouTube. Let me tell you the YouTube, because I know that some persons who are listening may not be able to read. So you go to www.youtube.com/@boldtv_ www.youtube.com/boldhearts network. We have our show there every week. Past episodes are there. This episode is there. Like and share and subscribe to our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, and like our Facebook. If you want to reach out on boldheartsnetwork.info.com or inbox anyway. Drop a comment or inbox, we'll respond to you. Thank you. Don't fight with anybody.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right.